Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Secret Origins of Mint Condition. I am one of your hosts, James, and we've done it, audience. If you've been through us the entire year, we actually fulfilled our promise, and this is the fourth and final part of us covering Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I am here on one of the 5 Earths that is currently being merged together as the power of the Spectre has finally stepped in to end this nonsense. And still joining me, having survived the last 3 parts, is, of course, Joe.
Thank you, James. Worlds will live, worlds will die, but this podcast keeps going on.
This keeps going, yeah. And Keith has also survived the crisis so far.
Hey, guys, hope I don't get, merged with one of my counterparts from around the universe. But
And also joining us, he joined us the last part. He survived the previous purging of the multiverse. Richie is back with us as well.
Yep, I managed to purge in as well.
There you go.
So this is it. I figured we would just, I feel like we have a lot to cover maybe on this episode because we have the final 3 issues, which Crisis on Infinite Earths issue 12 has more endings than DS9 did.
I like that reference.
Absolutely, it does have more endings than anything.
Every time you look like the anti-monitor is dead, nope, he's not dead, and every time like this issue's gonna end, nope, we got one more goodbye. We're gonna squeeze in here, but
he's like Dracula. He keeps coming back.
he keeps coming. And then obviously at the end of this, we're going to talk about our overall thoughts, and this is it, right, everybody? This is the end of the multiversal nonsense, right? This solved everything that DC ever
never happened again.
Well,
never
there were
happened
never
again.
5 more sequels.
Yeah. It opened up a few Pandora's boxes.
And was it arguably some writers and or artists or creators would say that they are still trying to fix what Crisis undid, but till this very day. So we will talk about some of that in our post wrap. But let's dive into it. We'll do our play by play like we've been doing. Issue 11, another amazing cover of the kaiju size Spectre versus the kaiju size Anti-Monitor, and Perez has gone all out, and every character you could possibly draw in peril and fighting he did with this cover. I think it's one of my favorite covers.
It's a great cover. It's a great
beautiful cover. Yeah, I love it.
So as we dive in, where do we want to start? We pick right up where we thought Brainiac was dead, and then we also get the Monitor tapes. So
that's right. Yeah, see, I could, having said we were talking off air before, James, but there's a lot of stuff I didn't remember, and that was one of them, the Monitor tape. Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
So what are we? We can just dive into it. What are our thoughts of issue 11
or 10?
Well, it's not 10. Yeah.
Sorry, 10. Sorry, 10.
It starts off with. I like the way what's his name just blast the crap out of Simon there, Brainiac, because he thought he was smart. Come on, who's going to be smarter than Brainiac? I mean, he played them. The whole villains, playing each other against the middle, typical villain stuff, right? And no honor among thieves. And or cosmic villains. So this was great, and as it goes on, well, the first thing we see on they don't have the pages numbered in this damn book.
Yeah,
because they had that top of page 3 or 4, whatever it is. We see what's his name again, Anthro. First.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's kind of like it brings it back to that we saw him at the beginning. So things are coming full circle, but there's still this big climactic battle going. Obviously, at some point, they're going to need some heavy hitters, or the heavy hitter, and you already alluded to him, James, the Spectre. So that's when I first saw that, when I opened this book up, well, you saw it, the cover. When I purchased the book, I was like, oh, okay, now the gauntlet has been thrown down. We're going to get a real Donnybrook, and we did.
We did, and we finally, we started getting it in the last few issues we covered, but now we have like a lot more superheroic battles going on and fights going on. I think we both said, or at least I said in the start of Crisis, there wasn't that much superhero action going on, a lot of storytelling, a lot of back setup, and now it's like one fight after the other. And I like that, what was it? The Atom in his the Atom costume says, I'm supposed to go find Billy Batson. What's this kid gonna do? Why am I supposed to?
One of my favorite parts. I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
That was fantastic.
And we get the review. We get the release of Captain Marvel into the battle.
We get Uncle Sam's speech. They made it. Even Luthor goes, it's corny, but we probably needed that. Basically. So that was kind of cool. The Superboy Prime pops in, and we start getting a lot of questions there, asked and answered. Some, not all of them yet. But there's a lot of stuff going on here, and it's just. And again, we can talk about the story being so epic and grand, but again, the master storyteller of them all, George Perez, just.
I mean, yes, it's
God.
without saying like the amount of work that Perez is doing in this and every issue. He's been doing a great job. Yeah, so we have the Spectre getting involved finally. One of our cosmic beings. We've made comments to the previous episodes that the cosmic beings or the supernatural beings were all on the sidelines, and in these last 3 issues, but especially this one, the Spectre finally gets involved. Phantom Stranger finally gets involved and does things. I think we see Etrigan in the next issue, right? Or is it this issue we see Etrigan finally coming off the sidelines?
This issue next, but yeah, all the magic users start to get together because they're very important later on. Obviously, they have their job to do. Well, the heroes are doing their job, and the villains are doing their job. But yeah, I'm looking at that page now. There's let's see, there's Saga, there's Phantom Stranger, there's Zatanna, Doctor Fate, Satara, Johnny Thunderbolt, Madame Xanadu. I don't see Etrigan yet. Maybe he's in the next issue.
Yeah, and then Uncle Sam gives that speech, that motivating speech from his world. Also, so I guess I think we get more of this in the next issue. I mean, I apologize, audience. I read all these in like one sitting, just the day before we recorded this. So some of this is all merging together in my own.
I read them this morning.
But the worlds are not fully merged. But we're getting to that point where I think the next issue is when the worlds have fully merged into the new,
the new
Prime,
Earth. Yes,
Prime Earth. Right. So there's still, I guess, leftovers now with their counterparts and everything. But and what was is the Crisis tapes just little vignettes that we didn't get to see, or vignettes that took place before the Crisis thing? I mean, I get that they're little like moments in time, but I was trying to figure out where they placed in the history of this book.
Thought the same thing, James. I don't know if in the back of the book, in the appendix, because there's numerous articles, it explains what that was, but I don't think so. I'm paging through it right now.
Yeah, I don't really.
I think possibly. This came out a year after Watchmen, right, Keith? Or was it the same time?
I thought it was right before. I think it was right before. I'd say that because 1987 or 86, during Legends and like a lot of the reboots, is when we started seeing the Watchmen ads in the DC comics. Okay. I think this came out before.
So maybe Moore stole his pirate story from this his Chronicle story. It has that. But yeah, I think it's to fill in certain things, the battles that they probably couldn't squeeze into the main book and different highlights. James, I think you're right about that. Yeah. And what's interesting is it's done in black and white, which, really, again, shows off the pencils also, pencil artwork. So that's kind of cool. And then Spectre shows up and he says, look, you guys got to work together. And there's basically 2 things we got to do. One group's got to go back to the beginning of time to change history. Another group has to go back to about 1 billion years ago and stop Krona from seeing that hand. So the heroes go back to the beginning of time, right? And the villains are sent back to stop Krona.
And they use the flashes to get them back there with the cosmic treadmills.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it's it's all coming together at this point.
The heroes and the Spectre is feeding off the heroes, right?
Yep.
Or he's feeding, or the magic users. Or is that the next
magic
one?
users? Yeah.
Magic users are feeding the Spectre's power to basically hold the Anti-Monitor's hand before he undoes the universe.
He undoes the universe, exactly. Yeah.
I feel like this this issue, with the last 3 issues in particular, definitely to me at least, felt like very centered for the most part around the Earth 2 Superman, the original Superman.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that touching scene where he's saying goodbye to Lois, his Lois. And to me, the most touching scene of the entire issue was Garth, Aqualad, going back to Atlantis, saying, you've got to save Tula, and Garth, nobody has that power, I'm sorry. And, he's holding, and Mira is holding Garth, because Tula's gone, Aquagirl. And that was a pretty touching scene. Kind of reminds me, Keith, of what we just read in Justice League Unlimited number, 12 or 11, with the scene with Aquaman? The
Oh, it
one
was
was pulled
great.
out of time,
That was
right?
great. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's it reminds me of that's just 40 years before that. So maybe, Wade, who knows DC history like the back of his hand, was
Well, he
probably
recently
thinking,
wrote it.
yeah, he recently wrote it. So he's probably thinking of this scene and he's saying, I'm going to write it again, but from Aquaman's point of view. And he did.
Now, Richie, you brought this up a little in our last issue because you said you read this issue ahead that we find out that Pariah was not the cause.
Right. That's a big reveal.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
Yeah, that was a big. Oops. Yeah. So, and we find that out just at the end of this issue, by the yeah, because he did what you call it there. The monitor there says that you didn't have that much control. I'm the one with all the power and whatnot, and so that who's I forget the name of the woman that was
Lady Quark.
Lady Quark.
Yeah, yes. Quark. Yeah. So she instantly doesn't hate him anymore.
Yeah, because she hated him because he destroyed. She was responsible for destroying her world.
By the creator, Pariah didn't destroy my family. But the end of this first issue of this 3 issue arc, apparently the villains failed from their end because they couldn't work together, and then I get lost into what happened because of course. Monitor's saying, I knew you guys were coming and I needed all your power to be able to do whatever voodoo he wanted to do. And then you see Spectre there at the end holding the hands or not holding the hands, but all the other magicians or whatnot, the spiritual guys are holding hands. And then boom, then the villains couldn't stop him. They lost. Then we have lost as well. And then there's just explosions and whatnot. I have no idea what's going on, and it's the end of the issue, and then we go into the second issue of this series that we're now talking about, and this is where it seems like all the Earths have merged with not everybody, but here and there and whatnot, and now we're going to discover, the Golden Age Superman wakes up, heading off to work. And we find
that was kind of funny sitting in Perry White's desk.
yeah, and then Clark comes in and says, "Oh, that's my Uncle Clark, who I was named after," and we have fun there, But it gets. I mean, now we're joining the heroes that are on this Earth that somehow merged or survived, or what's going on? I guess we learned this on after. I did read it.
I guess. Yeah, I guess. I mean, my interpretation is that, I guess the Spectre was able to stop him enough with the help of the heroes to not wipe out our universe, but it wasn't enough to stop the merging of the worlds. So it half worked, I guess, because the goal I think was to wipe everything out.
Right.
And the Spectre, I guess, the efforts of the heroes, the villains, and the Spectre saved this one world and merged them together arbitrarily, it seems like, because I have lots of questions about this that I know all of you in previous episodes of this leading up to these issues and post-Crisis were like, Superman in the start of issue 11 knows what's going on, but Superman, from, was it Earth 2 or Earth 1, doesn't seem to know. But later in the Byrne run, Superman doesn't remember the Crisis, right? So
what they say is like the real answer is it's like editorial and what they decided to do after, because as you see later in this issue or the next one, they say Clark says that the world remembers Kara and her dying. It's not how she died, and there's a lot of little things like that. But really, what happened was after Crisis, they weren't sure how they wanted to reboot things, so they told readers for a while that the after effects of Crisis kind of took a little bit longer to hit people, because immediately after, everyone, you can see the Earth is merged, like a ton of them remember what happened before, but then shortly after that, a few months into the reboots, no one really remembered anything. The only person who remembered the crisis and the events for a number of years was the Psycho Pirate for like 20
Psycho
years.
Pirate.
Like our time, 20 years. He was the only one who really remembered the true events.
No, it's a good point, kid, because the Superman at the end of issue 12, who's standing outside the fortress with his arm around Power Girl,
Yeah.
that's not the Byrne Superman.
That's the Silver
That's
Age.
That's still Silver Age, Bronze Age Superman,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
So,
that's the thing.
you know,
You got to kind of think, that it depends how you want to look at it. Like it's very complicated, I guess, or they just didn't give it as much thought. But a part of me likes to think that the original Earth 1 is kind of just exists out there in the new multiverse, kind of taking place from this moment on, and then the Byrne, the post-crisis world had a similar history with all those changes and all that, because otherwise it doesn't make sense,
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Now Barry Allen was another one that. Okay, so I don't remember because I wasn't reading for another 2 years after Crisis. I didn't get back into the comics, but Barry Allen, wasn't he also somebody that they remembered? That he died.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
they remembered he was the Flash.
Him,
Wally kind of outed him when he took over the Flash because he revealed his identity, and he did so because he wanted to he wanted the world to remember Barry Allen as being the Flash.
Right.
So he wore his suit but took his mask off so everyone would know that he wasn't him, but he was honoring him.
Right.
So the world remembers that, but they remember it like him and Jay Garrick were always on the same Earth, teaming up all the time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. See, yeah, it's right. Exactly.
So, in the post-crisis world, we know Barry died, but I guess we don't know why Barry died.
No, again, they were a little vague at first, but not too long after they had like their version of the crisis. They didn't go into the details about a multiverse, but they would say Barry fought the Anti-Monitor, destroyed his cannon the same way, running around it, and he saved the universe. That they said universe. They never brought up multiverse, not for many, many, many years later.
Okay, yeah, because it is confusing here. Because right now, like we were saying, everybody remembers. Jay Garrick remembers, but his wife doesn't remember.
Right.
Wally remembers, still doesn't know what happened to Barry, so he's going to do it.
And that wouldn't be as confusing as, like you said, with the Byrne reboot and everything else. Like that's where it really gets confusing because these characters are obviously different than what they are like a few months later in their reboots.
Yeah, I remember reading the Byrne reboot for the first time, and I was ecstatic. This is the Superman I've been wanting to read all my life. But at the same time, I was saying, wait a minute, this doesn't jive what I just read, recently in Crisis. But I didn't care. I moved on because this is what I wanted. I was kind of done with the very formulaic Superman stories as they got to the end of the Bronze Age. So I was happy with Byrne powering Superman down and all the other stuff that went on with it. The Kents were back again. They were alive again. They didn't die when Clark was 18. So that was cool. But yeah, there was a lot of things going on that didn't make sense. But the whole formation of the Justice League. There was no Wonder Woman or Superman. The Justice League was Aquaman, Barry, Hal, Dinah, and Martian Manhunter. The first five, right?
Black Canary replaced Wonder Woman in the post-crisis continuity.
And Superman and Batman were not charter members of the Justice League when it first formed.
Yeah,
there's a lot of changes, but some they came at us very quickly, some they do slowly, and after a while, you just like people in this book forgetting the crisis. We forgot it. And we just moved on with the new status quo.
I mean, honestly, some things were so delayed, like the Hawkman thing, because Hawk World came out like a year or two after Crisis ended, and then when they decided they liked that a lot, that's when they retconned it, where the Golden Age Hawkman was the Silver Age Hawkman as well. Like and then 9 years later, they did 0 Hour to try to explain these differences, or at least acknowledge them that they knew that these were holes in the overall plot.
There was a lot of stuff.
We did blame everything on Crisis, James, and you'll see even in Crisis they do the same thing. Any continuity hiccups in between those time periods, the Crisis.
Again, I understand, just the way comics are published and written. They're figuring things out as I'm always the analogy. They're building the plane while they're flying it.
I like that. Right? That's great.
You know, but we have we have Helena Wayne and Dick Grayson, and like and they they get killed, and Batman and his team like, okay, this is like they're all fine with it, and it's never spoken of again that Helena Wayne and this other older Dick Grayson were on this earth. But
right,
yeah,
they even
thank you for bringing that up. I was wondering.
Right?
Yeah.
Dick, there's no gravestone back here indicating nothing to indicate that my father ever died, let alone lived. That's Helena to the old aged Dick Grayson. Yeah.
I will say one thing. I'll point. This is, I think, a consistency with DC, good or bad, whatever you want to look at it. Crisis on Infinite Earths, Flashpoint, and even the DC Entertainment Universe to the DC Universe in the movies. What they do whenever DC decides to reboot something, they could never pull the trigger 100%, and that's why there's all these discrepancies. With James Gunn, he liked his stuff from the prior universe, so he kept it in, which good or bad makes it more confusing. With Flashpoint, they didn't want to pull the trigger 100% on everything because Batman and Green Lantern were selling well. With Crisis, same thing. There was some things they just wanted to keep in continuity, and some things they wanted to change, and they kind of picked and choose, and like they could never do a totally clean reboot, and that's what causes all these like kind of hiccups,
Yeah. Oh, without doubt. Yeah, definitely.
Do it or don't.
Yeah, they want their cake. They want their cake, and they want to eat it too. Which, not to do a sidebar, but I was listening to another comic books podcast today, and they were talking about the statistics of the new readers who came to comic books over the summer, which was a huge spike, and it's because of the Ultimate and Absolute Universe. Like new readers are coming to the Absolute Universe. Which I guess is the only smart thing they didn't do a Crisis for that.
Right.
So, because that at least they didn't make Absolute Batman like the only Batman we have right now.
Mm-hmm. Again, I don't think that would have played as well. But and the beauty of that is that it's people like it's appealing when you have a clean slate, and it's not either that or they like it's the continuing universe because they can kind of get it more. They can get an easier grasp on 80 years of history, in my opinion, than they can figuring out. Well, wait, that was 2-3 reboots ago. This version there, this Justice League didn't have this, and they think that's simpler somehow, but it's the opposite. Like, give us 80 years or give us, a fresh start. So, and another side note, those Absolute books are still selling like hotcakes. Number 13, Absolute Batman sold like 300,000 copies.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're doing great. DC's finally figured it out, and Marvel had figured it out with the Ultimate line, and they're canceling.
They're canceling. Well, that's just Marvel.
Really? Yeah, I was just going to ask, was Absolute Ultimate?
Yeah, you should check it out, Richie. You can read it on Hoopla. You can read the first. You can read Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. I'd recommend Batman and Wonder Woman. Superman
and Absolute Flash.
It's not out yet, but you can't read that on Hoopla yet.
Oh, right.
That's next month. Next month it comes out.
Yeah.
That's the one I stuck with.
Day before Christmas.
Keith, I have a question. For you, Keith. Now, your first issue of this, your first comic book was Crisis on Infinite Earths number 8?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's all right. So now, did you buy 9, 10, 11, and 12 in succession when you were a kid?
I was really young, and like I kind of originally read it like a lot of out of order. Like I probably got like issue 3 then, and then 9. I did that, and then it took me about like 6 months before I got the whole set and read the whole thing because I didn't even know my uncle at the time had a comic book store or he was building one up. I had no idea. I just didn't find out about that till later. That's when I started getting the other books from him. But it took me a bit, and I read it out of order, then finally read it in order. I didn't care though. I just wanted it was so good. I wanted whatever I could get. I would have read, a page here, a page there. I didn't care. I loved it. And I loved figuring it out. It was fun to like figure out who's this guy, who's that guy, and I didn't turn me off at all. I loved it.
Yeah, it would have been. I'm with you, Keith, when we were saying before, like 80 years of continuity is easier to wrap around than the reboots because like this, it's much easier. I mean, and Richie and Joe, you guys are reading it linearly up until the Crisis, and you guys know more about the Golden and Silver Age.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, you have no problem with continuity up until they shuffled the deck with this.
Yeah.
My beef, as I stated before, was that Superman was getting, and the sales were in the crapper. It was like selling 80,000 copies a month, Superman in Action Comics, and they knew they had to do something because they just wouldn't get away from some of those early Silver Age stories. Now you're at the end of the quote unquote Bronze Age, and Marvel is doing stuff differently over there, and DC's got Alan Moore working on stuff over here, and for you, and Superman is just like, oh, come on, man, can he grow up with the rest of the heroes? And Byrne, thank God Byrne won the day. They brought him in, and he wasn't their first choice, but I think he did it. As I said before or since, nothing has ever compared to John Byrne's run on Superman, and then handing it off to Dan Jurgens, of course.
Well, when we get to the end of this podcast, I'll ask the question: was the crisis a good idea or bad idea? But we'll save it for we'll save it for the end after we get there. So, just to get us back to the book, we have the heroes finding Brainiac, and Brainiac is like, "What are you doing here?" And then he's like, "I will bring you to somebody who can give you the power you need." Which is, I knew who they were going to right away, but I was like, "Is this what we're gonna do?" I thought it's great where that goes. We talked about the Helena Wait. Harbinger has her powers back. I didn't quite understand it. I guess because of the energy from the merging.
I think it's like that was just one of the changes to the new universe, And
then I guess we just have montages of the differences in history, right? For the character crossovers, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. Yeah, there's a page here, page 14. We see Anthro again. We see Viking Prince. We see.
We see Uncle Sam's history has been erased, like his world.
See Backlash. We see Enemy Ace from World War One. That looks like Tomahawk also. The panel next to Backlash. Yeah. So we're getting a lot of history there. Then we're in World War II. There we see there's Rock. There's the Blackhawks. The heroes from it looks like the Quality Heroes and the DC All-Star Squadron together there. So yeah, they merged those. Yeah, that's all that merged.
We got Superman realizing Lois is gone and giving the Christopher Reeve kind of shout of agony there. It looks like.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's page 16. I changed it. Right. Yeah. Wow. I bet they. I wouldn't be surprised if Messrs. Wolfman and Perez didn't draw from that. Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
They got to wake up the Spectre because they need him desperately.
He's resting after his confrontation.
Page 18, we see Etrigan.
Yep. There he is. Yep, yeah. And Dr. Fate.
And Dr. Fate. Yep. Amethyst. Yep.
Dr. Occult.
On page
Dr. Occult.
22, we have it goes by subtly, and I think other characters die too. But Mirror Master dies on page 22.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep. There's a few subtle deaths that happen in these issues that they kind of just.
What was the Green Arrow they killed off? Was that the Golden Age Green Arrow?
Yeah.
Because he's still in the old costume. He's not, because Ollie's nowhere to be found.
It's the Golden Age version. I figured, easy to have a lot of cannon fodder when you're going to remerge the heroes anyway. And you have a duplicate.
Do we know why Ollie's not in this story? But did Ollie appear in any of these issues?
I don't think so. I don't remember seeing him.
They put Hal on the shelf. We know that at the beginning.
Yeah, because he was like retired or something. Like he wasn't. He had many fights with the Guardians.
What was going on with Ollie at the time? I don't know. I don't think he had a book or even a strip of his own at this point. So maybe he was just that's only.
I don't remember even seeing him at all. The modern version at all in this whole series.
No,
I don't.
I like when Batman and Robin go to Luthor's cell. I never worked with you guys. What are you talking about? I wouldn't work with you guys. That was kind of cool because we now realize the villains weren't at the beginning of time.
Yeah,
they were a billion years ahead, so they don't know. Only the people that were at the beginning of time when things shattered and remade remember the crisis or remember who they were. So that was a cool way of not having the villains remember. And then we see, look on page 23. We even see Cave Carson is involved. Look at that. Yep. He's the guy that finds that whirling whirlpool of energy at the center of the earth. Yeah.
Who is Cave Carson? Oh, you got to help me out.
Cave Carson. Well, James, he's a Silver Age. DC had a bunch of B and C list groups in the Silver. Of course, it was the Justice League and the Legion of Superheroes. They brought back the JSA, but they had the Metal Men, of course. They had Doom Patrol. They had the Challenge of the Unknown, and they had Cave Carson, who was a spelunker. Is that the right word? Spelunker? Got people that root around in caves. But he had this machine, the Mighty Mole, that actually could, go 1,000 feet under the crust of the earth. And he had a group of people with him, just like, another group was Rip Hunter and his group with Time Master, right? So DC had all these cool B and C and D. Let's say B and C. list teams that were going on at the time back in the day, and Wolfman worked them all in. I think Cave Carson first appeared in a showcase issue. I think he might, and yet there was like maybe 3 or 4 issues of showcase. I don't know if he crossed over into Brave and the Bold or not, but because sometimes a character would appear in Brave and the Bold and go to a showcase, or vice versa. The Titans did that actually before they became the Teen Titans, because it was just Robin, Aqualad, and Kid Flash before they found Donna. So yeah, that was a big thing back in the '60s. DC had a lot of teams going, a ton of teams.
And then we end this issue with the Anti-Monitor saying "Welcome to your doom" and blackening the Earth.
The anti-matter of Quad, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Swallowing the Earth. Yeah. Poor Superman Murph too. He's really had a rough time this issue, man. He's just really. I mean, the angst of this poor guy. They put him through hell. They really did.
Cover of issue 12, beautiful. These are some of the best covers of the end here.
It's 12. It's a cover of 12.
I love that cover though. 12 is beautiful. You got Animal Man on the first page. You got Rip Hunter. I don't really know who Atomic Knight is. Adam Strange.
Oh, the Atomic Knight was a backup series in one of their science fiction magazines. It was a post-apocalyptic world where the armor that they wore protected them from the radiation. They traveled around the world, and it's very much a forerunner of Geiger.
I was going to say Geiger.
Yeah. There's a collection I'm trying to get. I have it on my want list with cheap graphic novels. They collected them all the stories into one issue. One book. I hope it finally comes back into print. I really want that. But those Lost Heroes, they made an appearance in Action Comics in a 2-part story before the Crisis. So they were banded together before this happened, most of them, and then they used them quite well in this story. They go pay a visit to, of all people. Oh, look what this blew me away because I forgot this. Look what the final issue is titled, number 12.
Final Crisis. I saw that.
Final Crisis. If only this was the Final Crisis.
Yeah. So we're in it now. This is it. This is the end of the Crisis. The entire world is in darkness, or will be turned into darkness. And Wally learns that the Flash is dead.
Yeah, and there are real stakes in this book because people are dying. Average people are dying in this. It's stated, it's not like some of the comics where there's like an entire city gets destroyed and nobody dies. So maybe this set the precedent for things that would happen later on. Like you talked about the off-air, James, this whole Superman, Reign of Superman and whatnot. We know that Coast City gets blown into shit in that book, right?
Yep.
Millions of people die there, and that's what sends Hal over the edge.
Yeah.
And there's destruction of the Guardians, the core. But yeah, I mean, there's gigantic stakes going on here.
And a lot of these changes stuck for a while, like a lot of these things. Yeah. Barry was dead for like 22, 23 years. Kara about like 20 years or 19 years, I think. There were stakes, these, like a lot of these changes were kind of set in stone for a while. Even the Justice League lineup, Wonder Woman not being a part of it, that only got moved back, I think, around Infinite Crisis.
I was just wondering how soon after Crisis did what was it? Coast City got blown
Coast
up?
City. That was part of the whole the return of Superman.
Right.
Coast City getting blown up. That was it Mongol, Keith, that blew up Coast City?
Mongol destroyed Coast City. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it was during the Superman dying run?
Yeah, that whole Superman thing story, that 3-part Superman.
Yeah.
Death, funeral for a friend, and the reign of the Superman. Yeah.
Okay.
They killed Superman and sent Hal off the deep end at the same time.
Yeah, you got to give them credit. And Hal became the Spectre, right?
Eventually,
eventually, years after that, because we had to get through Final Night and a bunch of things to get to that run.
Day of Judgment, right? Day of Judgment was when he turned to the Spectre.
Oh yeah, Day of Judgment. Day of Judgment. Final Night, and then
A little funny thing is that was actually written by, and it was like a no plan because he was kind of like he wasn't an up and coming writer at the time. Jeff Johns wrote Day of Judgment.
Really? I forgot that. Wow. Okay.
Yep. If you think about it, he's the one who brought him back in Green Lantern Rebirth and made Green Lantern a #1 seller for 9-10 years.
Yeah.
It's funny that he's the one who made him the Spectre, and he's the one that reverses it and makes him Green Lantern again.
It's probably his plan all along. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on in this issue.
Well, we have where are we now? I guess we'll go with the highlights since there's so much to cover. We have a Harbinger coming from Dr. Light, and we get to that full circle moment of why.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Dr. Light was created in the early part of Crisis, the new Dr. Light, and her ability is to absorb power and energy.
Yep.
And then we see that the darkness that the Earth was thrown into is really the shadow creatures.
Yeah, that they would the darkness is actually living. Somebody says at one point, it's alive, and we see them all come together. Before we get to that, though, well, then that happens, right? Yeah, there's this big page here with page. Again, we don't know what the page of the book is, but there he is. He's back. The Anti-Monitor.
Yes,
He's back in all his evil glory. And there's more going on in Atlantis, and I completely forgot that Lori Lemaris, I don't know how you pronounce that, but one of Clark's past loves, she doesn't make it out of this either. She dies also. There's a lot of characters. Prince Raman gets killed. He dies. That's an old C-list character, James, from the 60s, one of the mystery books. I don't know which one, House of Mystery or House of Secrets, I think. But yeah, there's a lot of people by the phone here.
Well, I guess they're thinning the herd before the full reboot here.
They certainly are.
And then we have the magical people trying to resurrect the Spectre again, give him the energy he needs, and then Alexander Luthor is taking the energy to open up the portal to go confront the Anti-Monitor.
The Anti-Monitor, right? Yeah, they have a plan. They say that they have a plan. Yeah, Superman says that we can't do what we did the first time, just try to batter him because it's not going to work. We need a plan. And so, Alexander Luthor, Dr. Light, and then they sap him, they make him a little bit weaker, and you see all the energy wielding superheroes in a couple of panels here.
Well, Rip Hunter's team ends up with Darkseid,
right?
Who's happy to help because it serves his interest right now.
Yeah, he's kept Apocalypse hidden from this all the time. He mentions that.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. They never really explain how he was able to do that, but he's Darkseid, so okay.
And then we, the page after Darkseid's reveals, we have Dove is killed, of Hawk and Dove.
I forgot that. This is where Dove buys it also, yeah. And Green Lantern is what Alan Scott is what the magic uses because at this point, that ring was mystical, right, Keith?
Yeah.
The
Starheart.
The Starheart. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. I mean, Wolfman, I don't know if he must have sequestered himself somewhere before he started writing this. And think about it, this is all before the internet. So he had to read books to find out this stuff. Comic books on. It's the amount of work that went into this was just.
Well, Perez must have sequestered himself too. Look at all.
Both of them, yeah.
Yeah, Perez, he had a daunting task.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably loved it though. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for the man, but the way he seemed to take on the challenges of back teams and background stuff. I mean, I'm sure it was tough, but I bet he also enjoyed the opportunity to draw the entire DC universe.
I think he did.
Mark Waid always says when he talks about George, he always says that Mark will describe a page and what characters are there, and all of a sudden he would get pages back from George and to be 25 more characters there that he even asked for. And Mark would have to figure out their role in the story or something like that because George just loved the challenge. He's Dan Mora is like him. Dan Mora is George Perez's spiritual successor because he does the same thing too. And he's, especially back then, George was lightning quick too, and the work never suffered.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable just the amount of details that. I'm just always amazed. Dan Mora, George Perez. Who's the artist on? I forget. I always forget. I don't know why. The artist on Redcoat.
Ryan Hitch.
Ryan Hitch is another guy.
Hey, back in the late 70s, everybody associates John Byrne with X-Men, but he was also drawing the Avengers at the same time. He was also doing sporadic issues of Marvel 2-in-1 with The Thing. He was also, you'd find him on different annuals for the other superheroes. all these guys are incredibly prolific and incredibly fast.
Yeah, but it's also it's not just the prolificness and the fastness, but the detail work.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not to take care away from other artists, but these guys are like just the level of detail in each one of these panels.
Okay, we have two artists here, James and Richie. So I'm going to ask you both the question. So for these guys to be this fast, for Kirby to have been as fast as were there tricks? Were there shortcuts that they employed to pump this stuff out?
I'd like to know.
Well, inquiring minds would like to know, Rich. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think either one of them were using light tables. That would be the only trick I could think, and I doubt they're using them.
Looking at this page, I don't know, it's 341 or whatever. We're just talking the stone work that's there. There's nothing they could have traced there, and it's just
341, Rich.
341 is what I happen to be
you're
looking
right. Yeah.
at.
Wow.
Okay. I mean, you look at that, the detail in all the stones and the half walls or whatever the hell's going on there. But I say whatever the heck's going on, but yet it works.
Yeah.
The detail and just the dimension and it's incredible.
It's very Kirby-esque, Rich.
Very Kirby-esque, but even more detailed.
Even more detailed, yeah. Byrne could do that too.
It's really hard. Me personally, really hard to draw tiny versions of characters and also have them look like the character.
Yeah,
right. Absolutely.
That's a good point. Yeah,
because I'm assuming he's drawing on a regular size. I don't know what he's drawing on. I mean, this would be hard for. I have a really hard time drawing characters that small on a regular piece of comic book size paper. If that's what he's.
What was that 12 by 18? They worked on something like that.
Close to 11 by 17, I think.
Okay.
Something like that. But that is like the detail.
But even then, Oh, I agree. It's not easy. I mean, right now, a lot of my artwork. Now that I've got a computer, I'll draw big and shrink it down small, and place. And I'm sure that the new artists are taking advantage of some of the technology that's available.
Oh yeah,
they have to be. Yes.
Most. I mean, I think a lot of it's hard to. Original comic book art is not as easy to come by as it used to be anymore, right. And these days though, sometimes everything can be done on the computer, but sometimes now artists will draw things for books that are very popular. They will do it by hand only so they can sell the original artwork. It's slower for them. But like Absolute Batman, I think was drawn by hand because they knew like this is going to sell. Like I can sell one of these pages for individually a certain amount of money. There are also people who will buy people with a lot of money in the art collectors. They will buy the whole book.
That's crazy. Can you imagine?
They will drop and I just want to buy. I want to buy the entire 20 pages. I'll have all the entire original art. So
my God.
I know. And back in the day, if you wrote to the artist in the 30s, 40s, or 50s, they would send it to you.
Yeah, in the Julie Schwartz edited comics in the 60s, Flash, Green Lantern, Justice League, Adam, Hawkman, the winning letter on the letter page would get one page of art from either Murphy Anderson or Infantino or whomever, Sikowski, whoever's drawing those books, Gil Kane. Yeah, they would just send it to you.
I mean, this page that we're talking about from Perez, I mean, it's an original. It exists somewhere. I'm sure this one page with the rubble and everything, I don't know, it's probably a few $1,000s.
Easy. With all the heroes that are on there, I mean, almost any page in this book with the amount of heroes that are on there, it's just, it's incredible.
The cost and I would love to actually see one of these pages like up close, just to see like what, how the pencils look. I'm assuming who was the inker on this one, on these last three?
I don't think it's Ordway.
I don't think it's Ordway either.
No, I'm looking at the page now. That's Ordway.
Ordway.
I don't think it's Ordway. I think the one I'm looking at.
It's Ordway. Yeah, you're right, Richard. It's Ordway.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Wow.
The inkers for this series on a whole were Ordway, most of it, but Mike DiCarlo did some work, and Dick Giordano early on. But I think Ordway was the regular inker from the second half of the book on, the run on. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious. I don't want to derail this podcast because we're almost at the end of Crisis, but I'm just curious because all of you can answer. But Richie, I know you actually have some original artwork. Are those pages like you get? They're inked on the original artwork, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting a page that's by the pencilist and by the inker, right?
Yes. Yes.
So you get two artists in the one piece, right?
Right. Yes. Now I picked up some artwork. I think it was some promotional thing by Joe Bennett, and it was related to Superman movie with Henry Cavill.
Oh, okay.
And
Wow.
I just got pencils. It wasn't inked. I guess they had a new process, or maybe they had a light table and he inked over that. But I got pencils only. But my older artwork, you could sometimes see a little bit of the blue pencil because it's not doesn't photograph.
Right.
And on occasion you would see notes from the editor. Like there's this one Superman page with Superboy where they wanted the S on the cape was not in the right position, and you could see it was circled. Change the S here, and then you saw the whiteout used and it inked over that S.
That's cool.
So you saw a lot of the process on these older pages.
Wow.
But
that's cool.
It's just changed, I think, over time. And like I said, the newest thing that I have in the chronological order of comic pages, I got the pencils. You know, and,
they might be light tabling it or I guess inking it in Photoshop possibly. But,
and I don't know that skill level whatsoever.
Yeah, but it's wow, that's cool stuff. So anyway, sorry audience, I digressed. I just got
we
lost
always do it all the time.
I lost in the artwork.
Well, if you're gonna get lost in artwork, this is the book to get lost in. For the master, George Perez.
So we get to see Barry Allen for the last time for 20 years, or sort of.
Sort of, yeah. His costume, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this page. I mean, I think the Kid Flash costume is one of the coolest costumes in comics, and Perez draws it beautifully here. And it's like a heartbreaking scene this page and the next page. Wally's been looking for Barry the whole series, and if you add context to it, if you read the Flash series right before Crisis, Barry's got a lot of guilt because last time he saw Barry when he had to testify against him at the trial for Reverse Flash. He testified and said that it wasn't necessary to save Fiona to kill Thawne. So like he carried that guilt for a while. So it was kind of like a heartbreaking scene when you like think about that when you're reading this.
Yeah. Definitely, yes.
He never got the time. He never got to apologize or kind of, even though he's stuck by his opinion, but the guilt of that,
And then we have that scene that you just pointed out, Joe, the giant kaiju size anti-monitor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty menacing, right?
And then we go back to Atlantis where Mera is fighting off the shadow creatures.
Right. We lose Laurie.
Yeah.
The next page we lose Green Arrow.
That's right. Green Arrow goes.
Yeah. Who else? Somebody else gets the Prince Raman. I said before. Yeah. Oh look, that's there's Shade the Changing Man in the same panel. I didn't realize that. We had missed that before. Wow. He got everybody.
We see Earth True Robin here, but I think that's the last time we see him because later they just say that they can't find his body, right?
Yeah, I think he died there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't really see it, but you don't see like anything falling on him or anything. But
and then we have the Mystics have gathered up all the shadow creatures using their power.
Yeah, they can put them in a green bowl too. Look at that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then we see Superman punching the anti-monitor.
Yeah. Captain Atom is blasting them. They're all but that's when they realize they need your power to absorb solar energy and convert it for use. We're between a binary star, but one should provide the power. You want me to absorb the sun's energy? I don't know if I can.
And she does it.
And she does it.
And weakens the monitor enough for who is the energy being who wraps herself around the anti-monitor's body?
That's the new negative woman.
That's right, new negative woman. Yep.
Right. And we also, the page before that, we see Alexander Luthor absorbing his power as they're weakening him, right? And she's weakening him too by wrapping herself around him. Again, we see all the guys with the heat vision or whatever you want to call it, blasting him. There's the energy wielders.
And then we have the Monitor gets beaten for the first time.
For the first time, right? Looks like he's going there, right?
And it's the first death.
Yeah, first death to the Monitor.
Like a horror movie villain.
Yeah, like I said, like Dracula keeps coming back. Yeah.
And then he absorbs the power of those creatures, and his first act is to kill Wonder Woman.
That's right. Yeah.
So he doesn't like what? Well, we learn this later. I guess this doesn't happen now, where we learn that Wonder Woman. That's like another ending, as we learn what actually happened to Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. Blasted back through time.
Yeah. So he kills Wonder Woman,
and then Superboy decides to. He's got Lady Quark and Superman. He's supposed to take them back through the rift to Earth Prime, but he throws them through. He says, "I'm going to go back. I have to. I've got to finish this fight. Earth 2 Superman needs me," and that's why he's there when the four, Earth 2 Superman, Lois, Alexander, and Superboy Prime.
And Earth 2 Superman has had enough is enough.
Enough is enough, right? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it says the vow never to kill. He gives the vow never to kill a sentient creature. But but in this case, I have to make an exception to do this.
I have had enough. Yep, and bam, shatters him. Yep.
And then Darkseid gives power to help fuel this.
Mm-hmm. Thus let them suffer the wrath of the dark side. Yeah, and then of course he'll as he says. Today, apocalypse of Earth faced a mutual threat. Cooperation was essential for survival. When we next meet, it shall be as enemies.
Yes, such a great line. Such a great line. Yeah. My only thing here is I don't like that Darkseid has pupils. I prefer it would just been red eyes with no pupils.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah. Well, this is still Bronze Age Darkseid. Yeah. Looks very much like the way Kirby created him. Yeah, he's fearsome looking, but he becomes much more fearsome.
They kill the Monitor for a second time, and then after that, what Darkseid does, Superman punches the ball of fire with the face for a third time. I think finally killing the Monitor, the Anti-Monitor.
No more, nothing matters any longer. I want to see him destroyed. I've had enough. Boom. Ram, whatever that is. Oh God, that's great stuff.
And then then we have Alexander Luthor saved Lois.
And the four of them, Luthor, Lois, Superman, and Superboy, walk off into the void, so to speak. Not to be seen for another 20 years.
Yes, until what? Infinite
Crisis. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, so then we get to Wonder Woman. So I guess this sets up Byrne's run, right? Or is that what they were planning, or they didn't even know what they were planning at this point?
I don't know. Keith, doesn't Wonder Woman first reappear in Legends, which came out shortly after this?
I think it was Perez's book planned all along, and they wanted to give her a fresh start. So again, they don't say that no one doesn't remember her in this, but again, you just it's a hand wipe that away, wave it away. That's what happened after. But yeah, she does pop in at the very end of Legends. And then, and then she gets her own book. I wanted to ask you, did you guys read the Perez Wonder Woman? I didn't read all of it.
Yeah.
I read the
whole
volume.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
I read the beginning.
Because in this, they show that the Earth 2 Wonder Woman goes to live on Mount Olympus, right? Do they ever show her ever again?
Wow, that's a good question. I don't know. I to say no, I don't think so. Yeah.
I mean, that's a story. But that'd be an interesting story,
certainly would.
Even if she was just helping in the background and she called herself something else, but the readers knew who she was. I don't know. I like that kind of stuff. But
surprised no one's jumped on that.
Yeah, especially given that you'll see what they do when you read Infinite Crisis. It's surprising they wouldn't use her.
Well, she comes back in the Byrne run when Byrne gets Wonder Woman. Perez draws it for maybe the first 40 issues or 50. Then he continues to write it for another year or so, and then somebody else takes over. And then Byrne gets the book to write and pencil, and they need a Wonder Woman in World War II. So he places that's Hippolyta. That's right.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Hippolyta.
Oh. Yeah, that's a great question, Keith. I mean, we have Mark Wade here. But I'm not going to answer that.
If you think about it, then even when they did the really bad crises, like Dark Crisis, I feel like they had nothing left. So let's make Pariah the villain. Is that scary?
Yeah.
I just odd that no one picked this up because that's it's right there. I don't know. To me, it's just kind of crazy.
Good point. Really good point.
Well, there's plenty of threads from Crisis that they could still pull on today.
Totally.
40 years later. And then we get Wally West becoming the Flash.
That made my I love that. That was I wish I could buy that page.
Yeah, I'm sure that page is that page is probably that'd be a cool page.
Oh my god!
And this retelling wipes out the Commandy Earth, because Commandy is found in Command Post D. He's not the last boy on Earth. He grows up to become Tommy Tomorrow. And then we see Jonah Hex as Hex. Yeah. He got blasted into the future, right? So, yeah. But I forgot the whole thing with Commandy. That's right. There is no post-apocalyptic Kirby Earth anymore, at least after this.
Yeah.
They may have brought it back at some point. I don't know. I have no idea. But
and then the epilogue is the only person who remembers Crisis is the Psychopirate locked away in Arkham.
Yeah, and the camera pulls out from the door, the hallway, the building, the city, the East Coast, and then the Earth. And who's going to live? Not the end, the beginning of the future.
Yeah.
We did it.
Very cinematic.
Great ending.
Yeah.
That's it. The end of Crisis. We are reached the end of Crisis. I did not read through. I think Richie, you're reading this on Hoopla also, right?
Yes.
I did not read. At the end of this, they have the history of the DC universe.
Yes, I have 2 copies of each of those when they came out, but it's the entire thing is in here, and of course it's gorgeous because it's done by Perez.
Because I was reading this, I'm like, why do I still have 100 pages left? And I was like, oh,
right,
it's the entire history of the DC universe is attached to this copy.
I'm looking at it right now. Everybody is here. Oh, there's all the Western heroes. Oh my God!
So, I will ask the question. Well, first off, I'll ask this question.
Yes.
And Richie, I'm going to point it to you. You finally reading it after 40 years. What are your overall thoughts that you completed it?
All I can say is that I love the last 3 issues. I think, to me, as far as the Crisis goes, those were the best 3 issues. But what it started brought me back into comics. Like I've said, that issue was Superman by John Byrne, and what was the name of the 6-issue series where you
Man of Steel?
Man of Steel, but there was the other one, Legends.
Legends,
okay? All of those, and then it just started the whole new wave of the next generation in my eyes. Okay, like Ollie was gone and Connor was there, and Kyle took the place of Hal, all that stuff. And then, of course, Wally taking over for Flash. I like that. But I guess I was growing up with that, albeit I was, 40 at the time. It's still a slow process, but I liked the changes that had come after. And I was one, I guess that's that chronological 80 years. I could have just as soon stayed that way. I didn't need to see Hal come back, and I didn't need to see Barry come back. To me, the Crisis just brought that next level of generation that I enjoyed as much as the original generation.
Yeah. I mean, what comes after this is it's the 80s. It's the best decade in comic book history. Nobody's going to dispute that. But, you have this, the Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One, Longbow Hunters, Man of Steel, Hawk World. You already mentioned Legends, Rich, and Perez's Wonder Woman,
and the new Teen Titans.
And thank you, James. Well, that happened before. That happened in 1980, but yeah, it's still.
Well, I was going to say because Nightwing is introduced in the 80s too.
Yeah. So
also,
the next generation of
the classic Justice League International, which I love.
Keith,
that's my Justice League right there.
Which comes out of Legends, right, Keith?
Yeah,
comes out of Legends.
The Wahaha League, or it was funny as hell, but it was also had a heart and a lot of suspense. That's my Justice League.
James, have you ever read Legends?
No, it's saved on my Hoopla to get to.
It's 6 issues. It's a great read. Got beautiful Byrne artwork. John Ostrander, Keith, is that who it was?
John Ostrander, yeah. No, I'm sorry. Len Wein and
It was Len Wein. Yeah, it was Len Wein.
yeah,
It wasn't John Ostrander. I'm
John
thinking of Suicide Squad. That's John Ostrander.
Yep.
Which
Yeah.
also
I
Suicide
just
Squad came out
reread
in this idea.
Legends, so yeah, that's Legends was great. Yeah.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've not read Legends either. I'll have to take a look at that.
It's a quick read.
Yeah. So I'm curious, and Joe and Keith, I know you've read this before, but reading it again, just overall
I loved
thoughts.
it. I'm so glad you suggested this months ago. We did this and we got through it, the whole thing. It's fantastic. Are you kidding me? It's one of the greatest comic book stories ever written, ever done, ever penciled.
Yeah,
so,
to me,
I'm so happy.
I know people love Secret Wars and everything, but like to me, this is like the ultimate event. Like this to me really set like the mold for like an event crossover and all that. Like this is the bar. I love this, you know. And I haven't read it in a while. I read it when it came out. I read it a few times. I probably read it like 3, 4 or 5 times, maybe my whole life, but I haven't read it in probably 15, 20 years. And so it was really nice to reread it. It was great. Brought me back. I forgot so many things, and so many things characters I learned about many years after. Now I know who they are, and I appreciate it even more. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that when I even read it 20 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was it's great. I think it holds up in its own way. You know.
Yeah, I would say overall, one, I enjoyed it because I know more before I first read it. 2, I enjoyed it because I got to do it with the 3 of you to help fill in the gaps and
thanks
learn.
for that too.
And as a book on its own, if without the history and without doing with you, I think it could be a little bit unwieldy to get into.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I would plop this down in front of a new comic book reader. It's sort of a book you would come to later, I think. So I think I've come to it at a time when I had more knowledge, and then obviously doing this was a lot of fun, especially with all of you, the 3 of you who could, like I said, fit together the pieces, especially Joe and Richie, like the characters who I'd never heard of in my entire life, and you all know them, and you can see them on the page, and
that's what I loved about this
book
too.
Shade the Changing Man, Batlash, they're all there.
Yeah. The minor person, I had no idea who that person is. Like,
no, this book is like a first year law student. Here's your book on torts. Boom. It's kind of like that, but at the same time, I wouldn't sell comic reader show because remember, 10-year-old Keith picked this up and he read it out of order. He knew what the hell was going on. So I
didn't know what ton of the characters were, but I just didn't care. I just loved it. I loved the spectacle. I loved
the visuals.
Like new heroes, even to this day, a new hero just gets me excited. I'm like, oh, like what's up with that? Like back then, they were created just differently back then. Like there was a lot more, I think, thought put into them and the costume designs. I saw a new character. I'm like, oh, what's their story? I wanted to find out their backstory, and there was no internet. You had to just kind of get things from different people and figure it out. It was great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So now I'll come back to the question I asked before.
Yes, sir.
Putting all of that aside, was this first crisis, a good idea?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
As I stated before, I think it helped. If nothing else, this led to Byrne's Man of Steel, and that to me, and that got Richie back into comics, and that to me was the most important thing that I think. Not the best story of 1980s. That's still Batman Returns, Batman Year One. But I think the most important story of the 1980s from DC was the reboot of Superman, and that doesn't happen without Crisis. So,
I think a lot of important runs that are still used today or referenced today and characters wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Crisis. So I think in that sense, absolutely. Even despite any continuity issues, because I don't really care about that stuff too much. And how for me, if Crisis didn't happen, Wally would never have become the Flash, probably. So, yeah. But even that, there's so many other things that you wouldn't have got you wouldn't have got this fresh start all at once, and these great big swing ideas like the Justice League International. You probably wouldn't have gotten an Animal Man comic, or or Captain Atom. Wouldn't have probably got a Captain Atom comic. So I say
you wouldn't have gotten Hulk World, right? Think about that. You wouldn't have Hulk World and Longbow Hunters. My God, this stuff. Yeah.
100%.
And Richie, I'm assuming you were saying yes because of the Superman run, right?
Yes, because of the Superman run. But again, for all the new starts to Wonder Woman and all the other ones we've already mentioned. I mean, it was wonderful.
What was the first? Is Infinite Crisis the first time they were like, wait a minute, we gotta we're gonna bring back the multiverse? Like, what was like? So at the end of this, you think like there's no more multiverse. So when did DC like start to like tread into multiverse or?
Well, I
guys
mean,
have to remind
Zero
me.
Hour was more like cleaning up the timeline. It wasn't really. They didn't bring back Earth. Like the main villain. I'm not sure if you guys read it, but the main villain wanted to restart things. And then they brought in Hyper Time in the '90s, which was like Mark Waid and Grant Morrison's way to like try to bring the multiverse back without bringing it back because editorial wouldn't let him. I think Paul Levitz wouldn't let him. So they tried to squeeze in Hyper Time, but it didn't really stick. And once Morrison and Waid kind of like weren't doing like big stuff anymore, they kind of just like forgot about it. So Infinite Crisis is when they really like pushed to bring it back. Right, Joe?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, that's the derivation of it. Yeah.
I mean, I know we live in a time period now where we're multiversal out because it's become a trope that's been.
Yeah.
But putting that aside, putting our current multiversal fatigue aside, would the DC universe have been better if they just had done Crisis on Infinite Earths and not brought back the multiverse?
I was thinking that today when I first finished this, and I kind of thought yes. I would have liked to have seen maybe this continue right up to the present day, but of course it's not going to happen.
I mean, we could still have Elseworlds. I'll put it this way: we could still have Elseworlds, but in the Prime universe, there would be no multiverse. So I'm asking, like, you guys think of it would have been better if we just stuck with that?
I think they should have. A big reason being because they haven't done anything cool with it, not once. And they had all these Crisis sequels in like 10, 15 years, especially. They don't do anything interesting with these other parallel Earths that they make up out of nowhere. They mention them, maybe have one story with them, and they never go back to them. So when they have these new Crises come out, like there's no stakes. I don't care if you destroy this weird Earth here that you never reference or you barely have anything going on there. The most they ever did was in the New 52 with Earth 2, but that was way after that was like the last reboot, So like I kind of feel like they should have just done Elseworlds and kept this as the main Earth. They haven't done anything.
Remember Grant Morrison's Multiversity?
I didn't understand it. Yeah.
No, I didn't either. It just gave me a headache. Yeah. It's too much. It's
I love like, Morrison, but that book, I don't. Yeah.
No, this didn't work. Yeah. This would have, if they would have gone on straight from here, what's this now, 40 years ago, and continued this, I had no problem with it at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
We could have avoided Final Crisis, the New 52. So that alone would have been.
I will say though, Infinite Crisis is, I think, pretty incredible, and I think it has the best build-up of any event ever, Marvel, DC, whatever. Incredible build-up. I don't think other than when the post-Crisis reboot books came out, when you had like Flash, Justice League, Man of Steel, Power of the Atom, Captain Atom, that was such an exciting time for me. But 20 years later, the time period from the Countdown to Infinite Crisis book, the 4 minis that lead to Infinite Crisis, that was the most exciting time in comics for me other than the late 80s. It was like, how is this all tying in? What does it all mean? Like, it all came together so well. Like, if you do read Infinite Crisis, James, get the OMAC Project trade, Villains United, Day of Vengeance, and Ranthanagar War. Start with OMAC, because that's where the Countdown special is collected in, and you will just love it. It's so good. It was just so well put together.
Well, maybe that'll be a future project for us here.
Well, that'll take about 20 episodes. Really?
Well, we're not in a rush.
That's true.
Oh, we're starting our march towards 300 episodes, so we're
oh my god! Wow.
That could fill the next 100 episodes.
Holy cow!
Well, do we have any, I guess, final thoughts on Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earths? This is the 40th anniversary of this, so any final thoughts that we've not covered in the last 4 episodes?
Nah, I'd just be repeating myself. I would have been happy with this and continuing on. And what's the new DC thing that's the subtitle that equals Marvel's Ultimate?
Oh, absolute. I'll send you a link,
Absolute.
Richie. I'll text you.
Okay.
I'll text you the Hoopla links to the books you can check out.
See, to me, that would have been the other way to create these other things is to have an absolute / ultimate book out, and just continue the continuity that was created with Crisis.
Well, before Dan Didio got bounced, what, about 6 years ago, Keith? Maybe a little more than that. They were going to do that 5G?
Yeah,
They
5
were calling
generations.
it, which then morphed into Future State, which was one of the worst things that they've ever done. Thank God it only lasted 2 months. But they were going to do newer versions of these characters, and then they were still going to publish the quote unquote iconic versions, but at less frequency, and maybe like in graphic novels a few times a year. But I think cooler heads prevail, so you can't do that. So all this stuff is relative. It all grows out of past ideas and thoughts and pitches that everybody had, whether it be writers, editors, or in the case of Didio, EICs. So yeah, it's amazing when you think about how you get to these things, how you get to these places. But just give me a good story. Ultimately, that's all I want. It's a good story. So
it seems like all of these rebirths and new 52s is like they had a vision and then somebody, like you said, Keith, they don't want to commit to it. They're like, they drop it, or the vision, somebody else takes over, or is let go, leaves, and then they're like,
James, you just hit on what happened with Hickman.
Hickman. Yeah, why they got
and then he leaves, and then they've had two or three. They've got 2 reboots of X-Men, and they got a new one coming up after this Age of Revelation storyline. So since Hickman left, they're going to reboot the X-Men 3 times.
Well, they're also rebooting their ending the Ultimate Verse because he left, or he said he wanted to do it just for 2 years, and that's it. Which is that is their best selling books right now is the Ultimate is the Ultimate Universe right now. And their Spider-Man book is their one of their top selling books, and Marvel's like, we're gonna end it.
Are they really ending it and not bringing it back immediately? Like
I think it's going to end for a while, and they're going to bring something back.
It won't be Hickman, and it won't be
Hickman. No.
So I don't know, but it seems like I
don't
know. There's like I think I don't know. Like you'll never get to the full story because I think Hickman said some stuff in either online or on a podcast, and then he had to walk it back. I think what I understand is he said I was only doing it for 2 years, and he wanted to lock them in, I guess, so he could tell a complete story since other things have fallen apart for him. But who knows? Marvel could have also
heard Bendis. No, did you hear that?
Yeah, Bendis might be coming back. Yeah. Well, isn't he? Who was the originator of the? Was it Mark Millar and Bendis?
It was Bendis.
And Millar, right? Yeah.
Bendis first. Yeah, he wrote Ultimate Spider-Man, and then that was successful. So that sparked the Miller. But listen, I didn't like Bendis' DC work, but I love the majority of his Marvel. If he went back to Ultimate Spider-Man, you wouldn't hear me complain. I would be there. I'd give him a shot.
That was a great book.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully Marvel can figure it out because DC's Scott Snyder and Josh Williamson last year had a vision, and it's happening. It's happening. Like
you got Mark Waid and Jeremy Adams, doing a lot of the heavy lifting over there too. So yeah.
Well, listening audience, we did it. We've gone through the entire Crisis on Infinite Earths. I hope you enjoyed this 4-episode run this year. I hope. I'm assuming you've either decided just to listen to us talk about it or you've read it. But if you haven't read it and have listened to us, then we recommend you go into Hoopla or your LCS or anywhere you can buy books. You can get Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think at the end of this year, I think next month, they put out some 40th anniversary special editions of it are coming in. Absolute Edition is coming out, I know.
Yeah, they're redoing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard they went back to the original pages and are recoloring them.
Wow,
really?
We have to get that.
Yeah, they got them out of storage.
I got this, but I may have to get that. Okay.
Yeah, they apparently they went back to either the collectors who have it or the original pages that are at DC, and they. I guess there's a little controversy about. I guess the first issue was not printed well and on good paper back then, so it was there was some miscolorings with the with how they colored.
Pull them out and look.
whatever you would like to get, audience, there is going to be a version of Crisis you can buy and own if you'd like it. And I know they reprinted the individual issues this past year.
You can find the individual issues at your local comic shop. They're not that expensive because they printed so. I bought 10 of each. I still think I have about 8 of each. So it was just there's so many of them out there floating out there. I'm sure they're not in dollar bins, no, but they're not stupidly priced.
If you're a collector.
Yeah, I bought I have the original issues, the 35th anniversary hardcover, and I still bought the facsimiles they did this last year. They come with the ads and everything, and I'm like,
it's kind of cool,
yeah. And I also know there's a trade out also that collects the first half of Crisis, but also puts the interstitial issues in there too. It's like a huge omnibus. It's like a two-part that puts them in chronological order, so you can not in publishing order, because I know some of the Crisis tie-ins came out after Crisis issues came out. So anyway, audience, if you want your fill of Crisis, it's out there. You can buy it in many forms. You can go deeper than we even went here and read it. But I obviously could not have done this deep dive into Crisis without the rest of my co-hosts. So we all survived it. So thank you very much, Joe.
Oh, thank you, James, for suggesting this. It helped fire the old synapses going again in the brain. So much appreciated. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Keith.
No, thank you. Since the beginning of the podcast to now, my whole apartment's changed. I think the multiverse changed me a little bit. I'm a little worried about what happens when I leave the house and see what else has changed.
We're all going to be rocked by the multiversal changes for surviving the Crisis.
I had hair when this started. I don't know what
happened. And of course, you joined us and you got to read it for the first time. Thank you very much, Richie, for coming along.
Thanks again for suggesting it. This was a blast. It really was a blast from the past.
Well, it filled in a big chunk of, I guess, your comic book history now.
Yeah, sure did.
Thank you very much, listening audience. Obviously, you have your thoughts about Crisis, what we said here in the podcast. You can leave a comment on the YouTube page, on Spotify, and if you haven't already, or we have a Discord now. It's invite only. We're eventually probably going to retire the Facebook thing. So if you want to join the Discord, please send an email to secretoriginsmc@gmail.com, and we can get you an invite to the Discord, and you can talk about Crisis there when this episode is released, or lots of other things that people are talking about in there. So as always, we thank you for listening, and we will talk to you on the next episode.